We are talking about the new slasher movie, Minutes to Midnight. This is a slasher movie, a fun slasher movie in the vein of the Wrong Turn series and Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequels, things like that. And this one is directed by Christopher Ray, son of genre great Fred Olen Ray. And listen to this cast. This cast is absolutely incredible. You've got William Baldwin, of course, one of the famous Baldwin brothers. You've got Jared Cohn, a kind of quite famous B-movie director in his own right. Richard Grieco, Bill Moseley playing a hillbilly type. Wow, that is out-of-the-box casting. You've got Viva, Bianca, who was, of course, Elithia in the great Spartacus TV show. Loved her in that. You've got Christopher Judge, who was in the Stargate SG-1. John Hennigan, of course, previous wrestler. Johnny Mundo, Johnny Nitro, John Morrison, you know, that's these things. You've got Dominique, Swain. You've got a whole bunch of familiar sort of B-movie faces here. So the cast here is really eclectic, and because of that, it does make it quite a kind of fun movie with all these kind of like somewhat kind of famous faces that you'll kind of see in this kind of like masked serial killer slash 'em up. So what's the story? Well, it's New Year's Eve in small town America somewhere, and previously, 20 years ago, there was a massacre. People were killed, people were murdered, and now we have this kind of group of teens who are wanting to kind of spend New Year's Eve in this kind of cabin in the woods. What could go wrong? But also to that, you've also have a few kind of other peripheral characters. You have some people out in the woods, just kind of like, you know, walking around camping. You've got John Hennigan's character, who is basically looking for his brother. You've got the town sheriff and his deputy, played by Richard Grieco and Christopher Judge. And of course, you have this family of masked maniacs in the vein of the Wrong Turn movies. I would say this is a comparable film to the Wrong Turn sequels rather than the first one. It doesn't quite have that sort of polish. Obviously, it's a lower budget indie movie. So what do we think? Like I said, this is a bundle of fun. The cast here are clearly having an absolute ball of a time making this film, and there seems to be some real quite nice sort of chemistry between the characters here. This group of friends. I mean, they are somewhat stock characters, particularly this group of you know, party goers. You have the typical, the slutty girl. There's the, you know, the kind of the innocent one. There's the kind of like the druggy dope fiend type guy. So they're all there. They're all the kind of the cliches and all that. But nonetheless, that they do have quite a nice kind of interplay. They do kind of seem like they are genuinely kind of a real group of friends. So that's all quite good. There's actually quite a lot of gore here, especially in the kind of like the latter third of this movie. And there's obviously some fairly good kills. Again, it's on the cheaper side, but the gore effects are quite fun. There's plenty of prosthetic body parts hanging up. The set design is quite good. Do have a little bit of problems with some of the kind of sets, but we'll come on to that. But you know, for the most part, the lair looks suitably kind of grimy and kind of dangerous and stuff like that. The killers themselves are pretty threatening. They're kind of a trio of different sort of different types of masked maniac as well. You'll have. And the movie goes at a fair old pace, so it's kind of quite a lot of fun to watch. However, onto the negatives, if you wanted a coherent story, then this movie does have a few problems. There's loads of plot holes in this movie, from, you know, having a shot where there's clearly no snow on the ground to the next shot being there's snow on the ground, things like that. The serial killers seem to be able to teleport in different kind of like places. We see a scene where the killer has broken into this kind of cabin in the woods, and then the next scene he's at this different party somewhere else. It does seem like this movie has had some reshoots in it, and then has been kind of, you know, chopped around a little bit. So it's a little bit kind of choppy in regards to its kind of storytelling. So it doesn't kind of really kind of flow all that well. And that's the main issue of this movie. It just seems a little bit kind of like hastily put together, and the actual narrative, if you're worried about things like that, no, it's not the best. But obviously, if you're just wanting watching a kind of like a load of slashers, you know, kill people, then you know, obviously that definitely will serve that need for you. Some of the effects are a little bit kind of on the cheaper side. Like I mentioned, there are plenty of prosthetics, but they kind of look like prosthetics. But there are some fun effects nonetheless, you know, beheadings and stuff like that. And well, the actual guys, kind of like the masks look pretty good, and they're kind of all messed up underneath. So that was all quite fun. There's a little bit of a twist, which I don't feel was fully explored. It's kind of hinted at, but it never really didn't really feel like you're kind of getting the full story. But overall, you know, for a B-movie kind of slasher film, it's akin to the kind of the latter Wrong Turn series. If you kind of like those movies, and I would suspect that you like this, but it's dumb fun. Let me put it like that. This is a dumb fun movie. So if you like just the kind of like nonsensical horror fun on screen, then this is definitely the one to check out, and I do. I kind of like those style of films every now and then, but this one definitely has its tongue-in-cheek. It is a lot of fun, and I think it knows it, so you can kind of just accept it for what it is to a certain degree without kind of like getting too hung up on maybe the story is just a bit of a mess ultimately. But the story is a bit of a mess, and we can't get around that, so I'll give this movie a 6 out of 10. I enjoyed it, and I think most people who like kind of like B-movie horror movies will probably get the same out of it. It's a shame it wasn't a little bit more focused to have a bit more of a coherent story, and the cast is absolutely great. Although they all do have reasonably kind of small roles here, so don't be expecting massives of screen time from certain ones. Probably John Hennigan kind of gets the most screen time out of the named actors, so to speak. But overall, yeah, it's a fun film. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to you next time. Bye for now.